Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy, the dope ass dude, and I am so really excited to be back because it has been since August since I have done a podcast, and I miss doing it. And I'm so excited because this season we have so many amazing things lined up for this new season of the Dope Ass Dude podcast. And I see we already got Karen Billington in the chat. Karen, what's going on, my friend? I love you, my sister, for being here tonight. And then you guys already know the preliminary things. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you don't mind going ahead, subscribing to the YouTube channel. And while you're there, click on notifications so you can be notified each and every time a new podcast is uploaded to the site. And then if you aren't able to catch the podcast on Mondays, you can always catch it on the go. It is on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Again, on the go listeners, that is Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And that is all up under the Dope Ass Dude podcast. And then you already know you can catch the podcast live on Mondays on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. Again, that is Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. And if you're not following me on TikTok and Instagram, if you don't mind going out and following me on both of those platforms, you can follow me at the Dope Ass Dude podcast on both Instagram and on TikTok. And then we'll go ahead and get this preliminary thing out of the way. You can follow Coach J. You can follow her on Instagram and TikTok. She can be found at Coach J Max, and Max is spelled M-A-X-X. Her last name is Mack, M-A-C-K, but you can find her at Coach J M-A-X-X. So go out and follow her there. And then she also have a YouTube channel that you guys need to go and subscribe to and click on notification and all of those amazing things. So you can follow her on YouTube or subscribe to her YouTube channel at Jeanine Unscripted. Again, that's Jeanine Unscripted, and that is on YouTube. So again, you can follow her on Instagram and TikTok at Coach J Max, M-A-X-X, and then on YouTube you can find her at Jeanine Unscripted. So I came across her on Threads. And we follow each other out there. And if you're not on Threads, you need to be on Threads. It's a great tool to converse with people. I like it a little bit better than Instagram, but I met her out there, so that's one blessing that has come from that. And she's this extraordinary force in the world. Her energy is through the roof. She's positive. Her messages and everything is so uplifting, and you always leave her page or watching her post inspired to be a better version of yourself. And then there's a moments that she posts like encouraging things, and for me, I've come across her page at the right moment. You know, there's been something that she said that I needed to hear in that moment. So I'm really excited to have her on. And you know, she is an author. She is a speaker. She's written 11 books. I mean, that's pretty freaking amazing. 10 children books and one adult relationship book called Breakup Boss. So she'll talk a little bit about that, but you can find all her books on Amazon. But one thing that I am really wanting to know about, and I'm really intrigued, she is a transformational clarity coach. So I am an advocate for clarity. So I can't wait to dive into that tonight. So I'm going to bring her on out. Coach J, what's going on?
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. You can send my check for that introduction.
Absolutely. I think I sent it, but it came back. So, you got to fix your address situation. I'm just saying.
What is going on? I failed to mention to everyone, she is new to Dallas. She lives here in Dallas now. She finally crossed over. That's what I'm talking about. So, Coach J, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh my goodness. Yes, I am a Florida native. I grew up in a small town in the state of Florida that you may not have heard of. It's called Daytona Beach, Florida. They race cars there. They have bike week there. They have Black Spring Break. They have all these things there. But when those things are not going on, it is really a small town. And they have Bethune-Cookman University there, several colleges, and the one that I last graduated from was Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. I am not a pilot. I did not major in aeronautical science, so I have to put that disclaimer there. Everybody asks me if I know how to fly a plane. I sleep on planes, but I majored in under their business academy, so my master's is in leadership. I'm a mom of three adult sons, so they out the door. So I have my sweet little dog Sasha. I think our dogs are the same breed or almost the same breed. She
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
Norky, but she looks more like a Schnauzer, like your pup. And so I'm just happy, like you said. I just moved to Dallas over Memorial Day weekend. I just like did a crazy thing and said enough of Florida. I'm coming out to Texas with the good barbecue, the Cowboys, and cowboy hats, and nobody wears them, so it's weird for me because I have three. And I was just like, I think I got the wrong email list for things to have moving to Texas. And I'm disappointed I haven't seen a horse since I've been here. I thought that they would be walking around just like alligators in Florida. But other than that, I love HEB.
So you had us pegged here in Dallas to be like certified country.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all. But the funny thing about it, I mean, it depends on where you go here in Dallas. You could see some
Hmm.
horses rolling around. You know, it's a couple of people out here. I live in the suburb of Raleigh, and I go up
Hmm.
this one street and it's horses all out because they have like all of these acres of land and everything.
Wow.
And they have horses and cows and all of that kind of stuff out there. So it depends on where you
Wow.
go in the city. You may run up on a
Okay.
horse. Yeah.
Okay.
And you now
I'll be looking.
one other
Hmm.
thing, you came here for the Cowboys, like you moved here for like the Dallas Cowboys. Is that what you're talking about?
No, no,
Oh,
like
okay.
an actual cowboy with a lasso. I thought that they would be walking around like in like normal everyday life. You know, like in Florida, you expect to see a tourist with a fanny pack. You know, it's kind of like that tourist look. You know, and I lived in Orlando before I moved here, so you could spot a tourist. So I thought that people be in abundance of cowboy boots and hats and big buckles. You know, like the stuff you see on TV. But
Yeah, no.
no.
That ain't Texas. No, that ain't Texas. I mean, like I said, depending on where you go, you might
Yes.
find that everywhere now and then. So I do want to give a quick shout out to Patricia Brown. She's one of my loyal watchers here. Pat, I wore purple just for you tonight. I know this is your favorite color. And then also a shout out to Yolanda Hargrove, who designs my shirt. So she's the one who keep me looking pretty good all the
Okay.
time. So thank you,
Nice.
Yolanda, and thank you, Pat. So let's get to it. So you've written 10 children books and one
Mhm.
relationship book. So let's talk about the children books first. So how did you get into that?
Yes. Okay. So my journey to becoming a published author, it actually started in kindergarten, and I'm gonna tie back into that later on. But I always loved books. I'm the fifth of five, so all my oldest and other brothers and sisters, they were in school ahead of me, so they would bring home homework, they would bring home books, and they would read to me. So when I finally went to school in kindergarten. That was back in the day when the grocery store would give you brown paper bags for your grocery, like Pantry Pride, Goodings. Probably remember some of those names, Kroger. So my mom would give us the bags, and I would cut them and kind of make my own little book from them. But fast forward, I actually wrote the children's books that I have because at the time my children were small and they were matriculated through the public school system. I didn't see any reading material that reflected little black boys, black kids for that matter. So at the other thing that was happening at that time is Florida had an exam called the FCAT, and it was the No Child Left Behind Act as well. So if a child got all the way to third grade and they failed, then they would have to stay back if they didn't do well on that standardized test. And disproportionately, Black and brown children were being held back. Mine were not, but I was doing things at home. So I was like, okay, what about if these other parents or second time parents, grandparents that were raising children, if they had some tools, what could it be that would help our children want to read more if they saw characters that looked like themselves in the story? So at that point in time, I didn't know how to publish a book. I didn't know anything, but all I had was some stories in my heart. So I wrote them down in my creativity notebook, and I just had to wait my turn, to get information, to learn how to publish. And at that particular point in time, the internet was not in abundance. I mean, we had dial up through AOL. So we didn't have the beauty of information at your fingertips. So I had to wait until I was able to get more information and then publish my book. So even though the children at that time cannot benefit from them, children now can. And so that's what warms my heart. And also that children's book series, they learn several life lessons as well as learning things like counting ABCs. But all of them has a life lesson, and that's called the Life Lesson series. It's 5 stories, and then I republished everything in Spanish. So God put somebody on my path that knew how to translate, and yes, you can use Google Translate, but it's not the same as spoken Spanish,
Right, right.
and so I was able to get that person to and work with that person to translate the story so that the meaning and the feeling stay the same as it does in English. And so that's where the other 5 came from, is the Spanish translation of that life lesson series.
Wow. So okay, so before I ask this next question, so you said you have a creativity notebook? That's what you call
Yes,
it? I
yes.
love that. I love it. Okay, so talk about that a little bit because I think a lot of us who are creative people, we need to
Hmm.
adopt that approach. We may have a
Hmm.
notebook and we write something creative, and then on page 2, it's a recipe for spaghetti or something like that. It's
Yes,
all over the place. So, how did you
yes.
commit to a creativity notebook, and are you still using that concept?
Yes, I am. And that's an excellent question, because I was like that, fragment here, fragment there. And when you're moving different places and you're trying to shuffle children, stuff got lost. And I've written some, in my opinion, beautiful songs, some poetry over the years, just many things. And or I had them on a computer hard drive that I no longer have anymore, because again, there was no cloud. There was no, it was just, you know what I'm saying? You didn't have those tools. So I was like, one day I was like, you know what? Before I start writing these children's books, I'm going to centralize everything where I put it from here. I walked into Walmart in Daytona Beach. I bought myself a Need 5-star notebook with the dividers, and it's got some pockets in there. I picked a pink one. I have it to this day so I could categorize, okay, this is my poetry. I love to draw clothing. I love fashion. So I had a section for that, songs, journaling, different business ideas. I put all of that together. And so when I was having those creative moments, I could just pull that out and put it right there. And surprisingly, a lot of the things that I journal, and this, I have this notebook over some years now, okay? So it wasn't like just one time thing, but I never anticipated that my journal entries for things that I was going through at that time and the poetry, that it was going to turn into my book, The Breakup Boss. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but that's it, tied into that. I never thought that those thoughts would be published, and here it is today. So you have to be intentional with that. It's a beautiful thing when you can look back, say, okay, what was I going through in 2022 when I wrote this? Or I remember I was going through this and I didn't think I was going to get through it, and here I am today. So it's so much power in that, when you writing out and journaling and processing, or business idea. or I mean, my children's books were literally ideas like outlines, and I drew stick figures, but I had it in my head what I wanted. And then years later to see it materialize, I'm holding the published work in my hand. I'm seeing it on Amazon. It was just like giving birth to a brand new baby. So it is so much power in that. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I think I love that. I love that. And I saw Karen said that she's a creative person. She is a pastry chef. Like she is one of the best bakers
Ooh.
I know. Like she makes some of the most incredible cakes and so forth. And she always coming up with ideas and sharing stuff.
Mhm.
And I just think that that is something that most people, well, not most, all creatives, we need to
Mhm.
have in our own pocket just a book dedicated to our
Yes.
creativity. There should only be
Yes.
color in there, nothing, no recipes, none of that
Mm-mm.
stuff. No, yeah, none of
Yes.
that. Just, yeah, I
Mm-mm.
love that idea. Okay, so that was your children's book, and I love that you went back and you had it translated into Spanish. That's pretty dope. Like, was that
Thank you.
pretty costly to do, or is that something inexpensive?
No, but you know what it costs? People don't realize another form of currency is relationship. It's relationship because you're it's just not when you're a startup and you're funding your own dream, when you're funding your own dream. When I say that, you people can't see your dream. You have the dream, so they're not going to understand it. So a lot of us were funding our dream. So the currency that we need to use is relationship and networking, and kindness. It goes a long way. Um, what I should have paid or could have paid somebody to do that, I didn't have to pay that weight because of the relationship of the person that I had that referred me to their family member. And it was a beautiful thing. They wanted to do it for free because that person, when I explained the vision and I showed them my finished work in English, she was just ecstatic. She wanted to be a part of it. And I was like, you're going to have name credit. I said, forever. You're going to be tied to me. Tell people to Google you. This will open a door for you. So it's that kind of thing where it was almost like a barter. And this person was in education in Puerto Rico. I've never met her in person. We've only been on video together. So when somebody catches that part, the spirit of what you're doing, and they want to be a part of it, that is what happened in my case. Will that happen every time? Maybe not, but God saw fit, and that's what happened in this particular scenario. Now, my illustrator, oh no, she need money. That girl said, "Cut the
Got the check, got the check, got the check, got
check.
the
I gotta
check.
eat."
Yeah. Wow. The funny
Yes,
thing is that we are connected with some of the most we are connected already with the people that are going to help us get to where we're supposed to be next. But
absolutely.
and I read this was in Mel Robbins' book.
Hmm.
She encourages you to go first. She was like,
Hmm.
there are people you see every day that you never talk to. You just pass by
Yes.
them. That one person could be the person
Hmm.
that is supposed to, like in your case, it could have been an illustrator, or it could have been, the person that could translate it. We just never know. Sometimes you just
Yes.
have to network and step
Yes.
outside of your comfort zone, because like you said, relationships, that's currency.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love I love that.
Invaluable. Invaluable. Yes.
I
Yes.
I 100% agree. So, okay, so that's your children's book. Then we go
Hmm.
into The Breakup Boss. Like, how
Yes.
did you go from, little bitty innocent kids to you need to leave that fool alone?
Yes, yes. So I had to take care of my babies first. I had to if I was like, God, really, I wanted the breakup boss to be first. That's what's the interesting part of this whole thing. I thought the adult book would be first because I was like, if I come out as a brand new author with children's books, who's going to take me seriously? But here's the thing. I could not finish the breakup boss. I just felt like it needed to be two more chapters, three more chapters, and I just couldn't release it. I couldn't finish it. I tried writer's block, the whole nine, and it took me 2 years to get the children's books out because literally the illustrator was illustrating them, and we were going back and forth in creative sessions per book, So, and that was a cost. And like I said, I'm self-published, so I'm funding my dream. So it was nothing I could do to get the breakup boss out first. The door was not open. The creative door was not. Nothing was happening. Nothing. And so I was like, well, the children's books are coming first. So when all of that was finished, my mind was, quieted out of that creative space. Literally, it was some things that I was still living that needed to go in the book. I hadn't lived it yet. So I understood it in reverse. I understood it backwards, is that it was more of me that needed to be in there. It was more wisdom of life that needed to be gained, that needed to go in the book that I didn't have 2 years prior. So it's not an autobiography by any means, but it's some life lessons in there that I needed to walk out before I put it on pages for others. So I am my biggest test subject. And then it goes to the masses. I want to be able to say, yes, I did that. Yes. And then when people read that, then it's life and breath to them, not just something running mill. I want to be impactful. I want to be transformational. So I take it very seriously what I put on paper. So yes. So when the breakup boss was finally finished, I was just like, okay, now. I was like, I ain't got no more. I put it all in there, and so finally the breakup boss was born. So that was definitely a labor of love, and it's different talking relating to children, putting something large into bite-sized chunks for them. Adults, we hard-headed, okay? So we've already lived a lot of things we think we know, and so doing writing the breakup boss was different. I had to come from a different place with that, and that required me to become another version of myself, a better version of myself, to be able to put that out there. I don't look like what I've been through, so I'm the walking testimony of what I have in that book. So that's the beautiful part of it as well too. You see the end before you begin your journey. So I
Yeah.
had to go on that journey, and I can take others through that journey as well too.
So the breakup boss. So it's a relationship book. Are you giving
Yes.
people tips on how to break up?
Oh, absolutely that. But here's the caveat, is that the first relationship that any one of us can have, it needs to be the relationship with ourselves first. That preparation. Okay. If you don't know you, how can you tell me? How can you tell me how to love you if you haven't loved yourself first? If you haven't loved yourself properly, if you don't show yourself self love. And I know it's a lot like self love, la da 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 da, cliche terminology going on. But the thing about it is, if you don't take care of you, how can you explain that? How can you articulate that to somebody else? Where's your standard? Where's your expectation? A lot of times, the reason we get into relationship trouble is because we fail to communicate our needs, or we don't feel safe enough communicating our needs. If I am not safe, if I don't feel that my heart is safe with you, why am I with you? So what is keeping me there in a situation where my heart is not safe, my spirit is not safe, my mental health is not safe, or I am not physically safe with someone? What is keeping me there? What is it in me that keeps drawing the same person? So in the book, I deal with that first, is the cycles, the relationship cycles that we go in. It's the same person with a different name, different zip code, different phone number. It's the same man, it's the same woman. And until we identify those things in ourselves first, we're going to keep doing that. And you're going to keep looking at people on social media, or you're going to keep seeing that couple at the mall, or that person at the restaurant, wishing that could be you. it can be you, but you got to figure out who you is. You got to figure out you first. And you don't have to do that by yourself. And that's the beautiful thing with these kind of resources, with shows like yours, with books, with coaching. It helps you with that self discovery piece. And so when you have discovered who you are and you go through that, the breaking up part is going to come easy. The reason breakups are hard right now is because something is still tying us to that person. Yes, soul tie, this, that, but something deeper is tying us to that person. But once you come into who you are, what you are, your purpose, all of that, you're gonna be like, I don't need these things are gonna shed off of you. And that's how you break up. You gotta break up with the old you, and then you break all these other habits, all these other things will break off naturally. So I'm going to take you through that process. By the time you get to the end of the book, and after the end of each chapter, I put some area there for you to journal. So you got some, you're doing some self work as you go along. If you, this is not a book you pick it up and read it on Saturday in 3 hours. If you did that, you missed the point of the book. So you have to stop and slow down and self examination at the end of each chapter.
Yeah, I love that. And I was just about to make mention of that. Sometimes I think this is where a lot of us we miss it. You have to break up with the old version of you, the old
Mm-hmm.
version of you that went into that relationship, or the
Yes.
old version of you from 20 years ago, because life, we're constantly evolving. And if you're
Yes.
still holding on to
Mm-hmm.
what you used to do and who you used to be, and you
Absolutely.
can't, which we're getting to the whole clarity thing. You lack
Yes.
clarity. It's
Yes.
like you find yourself, like you said, dating the same person over and over again, just in this
Mm-hmm.
different zip code with a different
Yep.
face, all of that. But they
Yep.
the same people because that
Same.
is who you, yeah, yeah. You
Yep.
ain't broke up with the old version of you. Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah. So
Yeah, if you still calling that girlfriend on the phone crying about the same thing, girl, come on. We see it. Why you don't see it? So
yeah,
you need help with getting clarity in those areas. And that's okay. We've all been there. You could be there, but don't stay there. And so that's where coaching and these kind of resources, let's move you forward. Let's let this year be the last year you go around that cycle, right?
yeah. So do you think a lot of the problem is that people tend to look externally first before they look internally? Meaning we will blame the other person. Oh, they did this, this,
Mhm,
this, 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 this. But why the hell did
mhm.
you accept it? Like you
Right.
have to ask yourself that question. Like, yeah, they
Yes.
did their thing, they did all of that crap. But
Hmm.
why did I accept that type of behavior? So do you
Yes.
think people look externally first, or is it easier to just look externally than it is internally?
It's human nature. It's human nature to do that, because if we go ahead and admit, I allowed it, why am I allowing it? I may not be the perpetrator, but I'm allowing it and I'm condoning it and I'm giving that person permission by continuing to keep an audience with them. So again, like you said, that's where we have to. I tell people you have to own your part. You have to own your part, and it takes emotional intelligence to own your part. How if you're 35 years old and you're still blaming what your parents did or didn't do for you, and that's your excuse for being a poor parent. Come on, you're 35. You know how to buy Beyonce tickets on the internet without anybody telling you how to search for it. What we're not gonna do is sit up here and sit up here and sit up here. Okay, that's what we're not gonna do. All right. Nobody has to tell you how to do those certain things that you want to do. Right? If we want to go to Vegas and we never flew on a plane before, we're gonna figure out how to get ourselves over there to Vegas. Yeah. So when it comes to doing this self work, we don't want to do it. That's the bottom line. We don't want to do it because it's going to cause us to have to look in here to some places that we don't want to see, that we buried or pushed to the side. And it's easier to just say, they did this, they did this. It's taking a personal accountability. And let me tell you, that is hard. It's not easy. I'm not downplaying it at all. It is hard to take personal accountability. It is hard to say, okay, my part in this was X, Y, and Z. Maybe you are the perpetrator in the relationship. You got to own being a perpetrator and then figure out why you are the perpetrator every single time, why you are self sabotaging good things when it is good. So it is hard to take that personal look in, but the beautiful thing is you don't have to do it by yourself. Okay. It is easier to navigate the seven seas with a captain of the ship. So take the resources, take the time. There's so many resources out here right now that can really help people take that deep dive inside.
Yeah, and just want to make this clear when we're saying that you allowed it, we're not saying that you're responsible for someone if they got physically
No.
abusive with you. Not we ain't saying
Mm-mm.
that kind of stuff. Now, if you stick
No.
around after they've
Mm-hmm.
gotten physically abusive with you and you continue and all of that, then you have to ask yourself, why am I sticking around for this type of stuff? Because first time
Mm-hmm.
for most people, it's the last time. So okay,
Right.
so that's the breakup boss, and you give
Mm-hmm.
all of these tips and tools in your book
Mm-hmm.
for people to get out of those situations. And I'm gonna just say this here, so everybody that's out there looking, first person DM me. I'm gonna give you guys a copy of Coach J's book. We'll get it shipped to your house. It's on Amazon. I just need your
Yes.
address. That's it. I'm not coming to your house, but to get the book, we need your address. So yeah, just
Yes.
DM me and we're gonna get that sent over to you. Okay, so Coach Jay, so let's talk about transformational clarity coach. What
Hmm.
is that, and how did
Hmm.
you realize that was your calling and one of your purposes in life?
Yes. So, okay. So that was definitely a progress story getting there. One thing I found out about myself, again, going through this process since 2011, starting to do that self work, is that I realized I made a lot of decisions earlier in life without clarity. And I was like, if I just knew that then, it's like that 2020 vision. If I just knew that then, okay, so at what point am I going to keep doing that or saying, I need information, pause to get information, to get clarity, to get more clear on these things? So I knew, and by observation and speaking with a lot of people, my career afforded me to pretty much be a counselor, have people in my office. I understood that a lot of people did a lot of things without clarity. And so once I actually was going through a program for speaking certification because I was speaking a lot. And then the program was like, well, we're offering coaching and we're going to do the coaching part first. I never saw myself as a coach, didn't realize I had been doing it for years without the title. Then when I found out about it, I was like, okay. And the transformational part comes in is because I want to see change. I've been to a lot of conferences, I've been to church my whole life. I've sat through many things and nothing was changing me. And that's because I didn't have clarity for me specifically, for myself specifically. So no transformation was happening. I wanted it, at least I thought I wanted it, but I wasn't clear. And I thrive in clarity. And that's the thing I tell people now. I thrive in clarity. I want to give clarity to my teams at work. I want to give clarity to my family. I want to give clarity to my friends, and I want to be clear myself. So I think if you couple those two things together, now we're talking about something. Is when people get clear, they can execute. If I don't execute on something, that's because I'm not clear. I'm not. That's where I stop. Halt. I'm not going to make another decision. I'm not going to do anything until I get clear. And so, with that's the type of coaching that I do when people are not clear about their purpose in life, which a lot of people they're still not clear about that, and that's okay. You can start unclear, but get clear because this is really important that you know. So that is where that connection came for me, and that's the gift that I want to give others through coaching is the transformation when they have clarity.
So why? Okay, so for the people who lack or haven't fully come into clarity yet,
Mhm.
what's the starting point for that? Because I tell people that all the time. I think that, and I used to be here when, and it could be anything. If you go into a situation with any type of insecurities, it doesn't mean it's a real,
Mhm.
it could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be a business venture. Those
Mhm.
insecurities are what cause you to doubt you.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
cause you to doubt the decision that you're going to make, and then you battling in within yourself because
Mhm.
your mind is noisy.
Mhm.
It's no, you can't hear the voice of God, you can't hear your own voice
Yeah.
because it's so noisy. So how do you find, where do you start to get clarity?
Mhm. In purpose. In purpose.
Or
Okay.
in general.
Okay. So I'll speak to purpose. Like, what
Okay.
were you born to do? I'll start with that. So remember, I said at the top that I knew I wanted to be an author in kindergarten. So when you sometimes you have to sit back and think, what did I say I wanted to be when I was a kid? What was that thing that just made me so happy? That just it lit a fire inside of me. Like I wanted to do it. I was doing it. What are those things that I said I wanted to do and be? Because when you're like a blank, I call it blank slate. When you're a blank slate human being, and there's no barriers, there's none of those insecurities, there's none of these things that have happened. If you're blessed enough to have that kind of childhood where you were nurtured, you had your imagination. You every idea, everything that we enjoy right now is birthed out of somebody's imagination. These microphones, the ability to simulcast like this, it came out of somebody's imagination that they brought into reality. So when you were imagining what I want to be when I grow up, what did you say? What did you say then? What I want to help people. I want to cook. I want to be a fireman. I want to be a policeman. I want to be a dancer, and then the world told you no. Somebody came in your path and told you no, that's stupid, you'll never do it. Nobody from here has been that. Nobody in this family has graduated college. Nobody in this family is an astronaut. All of those things. So then that begins to cloud your original blueprint and plan for your life. You had it. You had it. It was there. And so the thing about now is that you have to like start uncovering and sweeping away all the doubt, all the negative words, all the traumas, these things. But those things that you really love that are true in your essence, you have some inklings of it that you're doing right now. That you're doing them. Trust me, you're doing them. You are doing them, and everybody around you can see it. You know, if you're that person that brings the positive energy, every place I've worked, they have nicknamed me Sunshine, and I never told them that the last place I worked until after they say it. But you know, it's those things that you naturally do, that you naturally gravitate to that. And then there's a couple of things you can do as well too. I love the Myers Briggs. If you've taken the Myers Briggs or some variation of it to know your personality type, like it's a collective of things that you can do to start uncovering and removing all those years of doubt, self doubt. You really didn't have any self doubt. People gave you that, you know. And that's one thing too, is we have to say, you know what, I love, you know, whoever that brought me up, but they did put a lot of doubt in me. Let me forgive them, okay, and I'm gonna forgive myself so that I can move on and discover who I am supposed to be, who I was born to be. My mentor said a quote yesterday is two dates are very important in your life: the day you were born and the day you discover what you were born for. And I was like, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Because if you get that, we celebrate birthdays, but if we get that second date and discover what we were born for, oh my God, gifts and talents make room for you. They really do. um, Somebody might have said when they first saw a fireman, I want to be a fireman. Or they might be thinking, I want to be someone who puts out fires. Where it may not be literal fires, but maybe you're that problem solver. You put out fires in the workplace. You're able to put out fires in your family because you see a situation and you see solutions. Somebody else see the situation. They see only the obstacles. So you putting out fires. Everywhere I go, people say, oh, everywhere I go, I got to put out fires over here. You're a fireman.
Hmm.
You're the fireman. Okay. Some of that you're gonna have to reverse engineer, and see where that lands you, career wise, business wise, volunteer. You got to find those things that fill your bucket. That's one thing one of my mentors say to me, what fills your bucket? But a lot of times what we've been doing is we're doing things that fill other people's bucket and we get no fulfillment out of it at all. Stop doing that because the sooner you stop doing those things that do not bring you any fulfillment, you make room for those things that do bring you fulfillment. So
Wow.
you said about clearing that noise,
Yeah.
clear out. And remember, I said once you start that self discovery and you start standing up on the inside of yourself, a lot of these things just gonna break up and break off naturally. You just stop doing it. You're like, you know what? I don't really like going to brunch on Sundays and getting mimosa wasted. Why am I doing that? Stop doing it. Don't go. Don't go a couple of Sundays with those friends and see if those people will remain friends of yours. Just try it. Just try it. I already
Yeah.
know I'm right.
Yeah. Wow. And it's funny what your mentor said about the two birthdays. So
Yeah.
this is a shameless plug on me, but I have a
Mhm.
book called Naked, right? I wrote it 15 years ago,
Mm.
whatever. And in the book,
Okay.
I say there are four dates you should remember. And
Okay.
your mentor kind of like confirmed the letter too. So I said in the
Okay.
book, the four dates you should remember is your father, your mother, yours, and the day you come into your true self. The reason you note your
Mm.
mothers and your fathers is because their upbringing shapes your upbringing. And when they
Yeah.
merge together, then they
Mhm.
teach you a combined whatever they come up with to work for raising their kids based on their upbringing. So you have to know how
Yeah.
your parents were raised because in
Mhm.
some regards that's how you're being raised. So you have to
Mhm.
understand that. And then like you said, your date and then the date you came into your true self. And my date
Yeah.
was January 18th, 2010. I was 38 years old when I
Ooh.
finally came into
Yes.
myself. And I just remember like my whole life changed January 18th, 2010.
Mhm.
And at that time, I was 38 years old. And I read Stephen Arterburn's book, Healing is a Choice. That was the first book I
Mhm.
read on my journey. And then
Mhm.
also, because it talks about, and then, well, I heard Noah Jones preach this sermon. He talks about the man that was at the Bethesda pool, and he was
Mhm.
there for 38 years. Now I'm 38
Mhm.
years, and it was a
Mhm.
moment where he said, God came to the guy, and he was like, I mean, Jesus came to the man. He was like, "Do you want to be healed?" Jesus already know the
Mhm.
man wanted to be healed, but he had to
Yes.
ask him because the man had
Yeah.
to make a choice to be a
Mhm.
better version of himself. And that's what I
Mhm.
tell. I love how you said your mentor shared that with you, and you go by it too because it is so
Mhm.
true. You
Yes.
have to come into a realization of what you are here for. And that comes with
Absolutely.
clarity. It comes with
Yes.
clarity and being able to
Mhm.
see all of this negativity that people have spoken to you over the years.
Mhm.
That's their opinion, that's their thoughts. You don't have to
Yes.
limit yourself by their
Mhm.
thoughts. Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love
Yes. Yes. And a big part of that too is like it's the comparison thing, right? we didn't we didn't I think more people are more sad now that they have social media and they could see it was like a reverse reaction that I think nobody was prepared for. It was to open up your eyes and give you insight on what could be, but then people started looking to the left and to the right. You got to put those blinders on and say this is my lane. And when I heard Lisa Angel, I think that's her name, Lisa Angel, on her video today. She said two words that she had to get over, and she wasn't going to progress in her life, and it was by now. By now, I should be here. By now, for this, I should have been there. By now, I should be married. By now, I should have had a kid. By now, I should have had the house. By now, I should be financially free. So it's like, according to who? By now, according to who? Like, who said that? If you're in your lane, then you're not behind anybody
yeah,
because you're in your lane. But if you over there, if I'm in your lane, then yeah, I am going to be behind you because all I can be is a second best to you. But I can be a winner and a number one in my own lane. Then I'm at my right speed. I'm right exactly where I'm supposed to be at the right time, at the right pace, in my own lane. But if I'm
Yeah,
trying to run your race, I am always going to lose and I'm always going to come up short and I'm always going to be defeated. So it's this is the year. Get in your lane and prosper in your lane.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And you have to realize that your lane is not a competition. It's not a race.
Mm-mm.
Everybody
Mm-mm.
has a finish line and everybody is going to cross their own appropriate finish line. You just have
Yes.
to, like you said, not compare. And I say that all the time. Anytime we compare ourselves to someone, we're
Mm-hmm.
comparing our reality to our perception of them. You don't know what those
Yes.
people are going through to have
Mm-mm.
what they have
That's
and all of
right.
this.
That's
And
right.
we want what they got. And we don't know.
Yes.
They
Mm-hmm.
getting beat up every night, but you want that
Yeah.
what you
Mm-hmm.
see on Instagram. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
comparison, you're always going to lose because you never know
Yes.
what they're going through. Yeah.
Absolutely not. That's right. That's right. And I tell people all the time, I was like, you're seeing me in this chapter. You might not have liked me 10 years ago in that chapter because I was still becoming. You might not have liked me 20 years ago. So don't compare yourself, what I'm driving, where I live, all that kind of stuff. You don't see the hell I went through to get here, and it was a process. So don't compare. Don't look at me and say, well, she's got it all together. I don't. I still feel like I still have so much more growing up to do. Even at the tender age of 51, I still have a lot of growing up to do.
Gen X. Yeah, Gen X. Oh my God.
There's
Gen
still
X.
so much, there's still so
Yeah.
much. I'm not the way that I was, but I still have more to go. So if you're measuring yourself by this yardstick, it's going to change. It's going to change. You're never going to catch up to that because I'm already on my way to my next thing, the next part of me. So be in your own lane. That's
Yeah,
all. You got to
I
be in
heard
your lane.
someone say the other day, they said, I haven't even met the best version of myself. And when they said
Mm-hmm.
that, I was like, oh, that is so true because it's like
Yes.
life is good now, but life is better for you even in the future. We haven't even met
Yes.
the dopest as Daisy, best version of ourselves. We haven't even met those people yet. So it's
That's
like
right.
live where you are and just
Mm-hmm.
expect greater in the future because it's there. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I
And you
love
know
that.
what? Don't beat yourself up. Give yourself some grace. Nobody can say bad things to me than that voice I used to have in my head that just like the things I would say to myself I would never say to anybody else. Not like that. After every little mistake, I was giving people more grace than I was giving myself. And I'm like, Janine, this your first time on planet Earth. You have not been here before. So you don't know how you're gonna react to this such a thing. You don't know how you're gonna react to losing a parent. You don't know how you're going to react to losing your best friend in a tragic way. You've never done it before. So these are situations and life things that you have to go through, that we all go through. So you have to give yourself some grace to just pull back and be like, man, I shouldn't be sad no more. Grieving should be over. It says who? You never know how you were going to respond to that, or losing a child, or losing your pet, or having to file bankruptcy, whatever the case may be. You don't know how you're going to respond to these situations. So give yourself some grace and then connect with community. That's how we get better, is when we have somebody to mirror to us and we have people that can genuinely pour into us when we're broken and everything's leaking out. You got to have that community of people that are going to help you heal through these different stages and chapters that you go through in your life.
Yeah, and stop listening to people who haven't worn your shoes. Yeah,
That's right.
haven't even
They don't know.
they don't know. They to be honest with you,
Yeah.
they can't even fit the shoes you're wearing. If they went through some of the stuff we've gone through, they probably wouldn't even
Hmm.
survive it because they look at the
Right.
external and think like, oh, you ain't been through nothing. No, we've been through
Hmm.
some hell. We just don't look like it. So stop
That's right.
listening to people who have never ever been in your situation, especially about when it's time for you to move on. You move
Right.
at your own pace. You heal at your
Mhm.
own pace. Because I'm
Mhm.
one of those people that when I deal with stuff, when I go through stuff, I sit in it. So when it
Mhm.
happens, I sit in it. I don't want no distractions. I don't
Mhm.
want anything. I want to sit in
Mhm.
it, process it, and when I'm
Mhm.
done with it, I'm done with it. I can move on from it. But people be like,
Yeah.
"Well, John, you need to move on out of there." I ain't done processing yet. I'm not done
Yeah.
processing. Until I get done with
Mhm.
my process, I'm gonna stay
Yes.
right here. I'm gonna stay right here. So
Yes.
move at your own pace. Move at your
Mhm. Mhm. That's so
yeah.
good.
So Tiffany said, people who, will hold you where they met you, not where you are going. Tiffany, that's when you need some clarity so you can cut them
Yeah.
fools off. So what do you think
Yep.
about that? Because people would say, I
Absolutely.
remember you used to be.
Mhm.
So what do you think
Mhm.
about that, coach?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's time to love them at a distance, not up close. And this is one thing too. I love this analogy is that you have a life bus. Like your life is a bus. You can determine you're in the driver's seat. You can determine where everybody sits on that bus, or somebody got to get off at the next stop, and that's okay. Your journey with me has now ended, and that's okay. I don't got to be mad at you. It don't have to be a dramatic exit. It don't have to be, drama. We don't got to break no dishes. You just getting off at the next stop. That's it. And because you're holding up somebody else's seat on this life bus of mine.
Oh,
And that's
yes.
it. And that's all. That's it. And that's all. We're not even going to argue. That's it. And that's all.
Yeah. And that goes both ways. It goes both ways.
Mhm,
They're holding up someone's seat in your life, and
mhm,
you're holding up someone's seat in their
mhm,
life. It goes both
mhm.
ways. And I tell
Yep.
people that this is one of the most clarifying moments I've had because
Mhm,
I tend to be super loyal to people. So I
mhm,
keep stuff like I
mhm.
keep stuff. I'm not a hoarder or anything like that. My house don't reflect that, but I tend to hold on to people far
Mhm,
too long. And don't mean that because I need to let them go doesn't mean that it
mhm,
does not mean that they are bad people. It just means
mhm.
that I've served my purpose in their lives and
Yep.
they've served their purpose in my life. And as
Mhm,
long as we're holding on to each other, like you said,
mhm.
we're sitting in somebody else's seat on the bus.
Mhm. Mhm.
Everybody is not meant to go to the finish line with us. Some people
Yep.
get off on Mack X Boulevard, next people get
Mhm.
off on the street, but you have to let people
Mhm.
go when they are supposed to go.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
What was it? A quote I heard years ago. I think it was Bishop Jakes. People in your life for three reasons: a season, a reason, or forever. And we don't know that until it's happening. Sometimes those people that are just supposed to be for a season or for a certain reason are like, we're trying to hold them forever and wonder why things are going wrong. Like, we used to be so cool. What's up now? That season is over. And who knows? That season may come, another season may come around again, but I gotta let you do. And then some people we cut off too quickly. That was supposed to be our forever. Okay. I have some friends, I don't talk to them maybe one time or two times in a year, but it's like we pick right up where we left off. We love each other. That bond is there. I know that they're forever people in my life. They don't need me to be with them, talk to them every day. And that may sound weird, but we know each other. And so those are some lifers that I have. And then there was some that their lives tragically ended. So it forced me to have to not need them the way that I was depending on them. So again, you just have to be open and allow things and circumstances and people to reveal themselves as you go. And then again, if we're getting to know ourselves, if we're loving ourselves properly, we're not putting all of that pressure on these external relationships for people to feel those things in us so that we don't feel lonely, abandoned, rejected, all of these things, because those are reasons that we hold tightly a lot of time to people longer than we should. And then a bus is pretty big. Some people gonna sit at the front. They right there in your inner circle. Some gonna be in the middle. They out a little bit further. Be cool. Some people on the back of the bus, acquaintance. So it's not that the bus is empty, but you just have to know where to seat people in your life. And you said it earlier, everybody cannot speak into you. It shouldn't be a crowd of people that can speak into you. Probably two or three good friends that are very close that can speak into your life. So
Yeah.
you just have to know
And
where to seat people.
and I drive a car. I don't ride on the bus too often, so it's only small amount of occupants in the car. So
I
I
have
ain't
a
got
two-seater.
yeah.
So I mean, like, somebody gonna be
All
sticking out through the sunroof.
Yeah, I ain't got no time for all of y'all people sitting in the back. You got to get up out of here. You got to go. You got to go. Your time is up. Wow. Okay. So and oh my God, we almost out of time. But quick question for you because I think this is super
Okay.
inspiring too. So you're Gen Xer, yeah, you're Gen Xer, and you
Ooh.
just moved to Dallas at 51.
Yes.
You moved to Dallas at 51. I saw a post that you posted, and you said this is 51, and I love it. So at 51, was it hard for you to pack up and move from everything you knew to come to somewhere else and start new?
It was not because here's the deal. I have been saying this probably. I feel like in my own timeline, I'm 5 years behind schedule because I said I have been warning my family. I've been saying I'm going to be moved. I'm going to move. Actually, I said I was going to move out of the country. I was going to Mexico. So Texas, you right there. I'm like right
You'll be back. You'll
there.
be back. You think it's hot
I'm
here in
like,
Texas? Go to Mexico.
I went, but I was like, it was a nice time of year. So I was like, yeah, I think Texas was okay. I think Texas is just fine. The closer you get to that equator, I tell you, it's
Yeah,
no
yeah,
joke. But it was easy because I had been speaking it into my life for all these times. And some people may or may not know about speaking something, so I'll just leave it at that. But I have been saying it that is what I wanted to do. And when the door and the timing and everything worked out, I was gone. I didn't look back. I didn't think twice. Packed up and that was it. It was time. I knew I had given all I could give in the state of Florida to where it circumstantially it just was not working out for me. And so I didn't tell a whole bunch of people because I didn't want a bunch of people's opinion. I
right.
just told who needed to know in that moment that was relevant to that move. And I said, I'm going. I told my work team, I'm going. I'm going to Texas. And, some people are still finding out. but but it just becomes a point in time where you're like, I have exhausted all means in this space. And now it's time for me to move into the next space. And the other thing is those who are believers, you know, sometimes God will make you uncomfortable where you are. You have to go. When that brook dries up in one place, either you're gonna sit there or you're gonna get to where provision is. And whatever that means to whomever, that's where I was. And a lot of times we're like praying, praying, praying for something. And we don't realize that the answer to prayer is over there, not where you're at, but we're like, no, God could do it right here. He could, but he wants you over there because it's more than
Mm,
just about you. There's a bigger picture at play. There's somebody you're supposed to meet. It's other people are praying too, and you're the answer to their prayer. So you need to get over there. And that's what happened in that particular Bible story. When the prophet got over there, he was able to be a blessing to over there. And didn't seem like it, but while he was on the way, but when he got there, he was actually a blessing over there. So I just want to be obedient. I just want to hear. And so I was actually relieved. I was so happy to go. And it was, it's been great ever since.
and
So yeah, this is 51.
and we live about 25 minutes away, and y'all got all the good food out your way. So I'm gonna be coming out there, and we're gonna be getting white girl wasted. Good.
It's so funny. I tell my work team, I'm like, I'm getting ice cream wasted on Friday night. It's this place called Cream and Sugar. Bruh, let me
Wow.
tell you. And they're in walking distance. I'm like, ooh, Satan, get thee behind me. I'm like, nah, I gotta set some guardrails up. But yeah, it's a lot of good food over here.
Yeah, there's a lot of good
A
food that way. A lot of good food. A lot of good food. So
lot.
So this has been like freaking amazing. And Coach Jay, I am like when you said you moved here recently, you know, that
Mhm,
definitely inspired me because I think in life we have to be free to pivot at any
mhm,
moment. And
mhm.
clarity is so important in those matters.
Yes,
So one thing,
yes.
couple of things I want everybody to take away from here, all the creative people that are out there, you need a creative notebook. You need a
Mhm,
notebook just for your ideals. That's something that Coach Jay tapped on earlier. You need a
mhm,
notebook for all of that. And then also then find that one thing, like she said, go, what did you used to say that I want to do? What was that one thing that even now today you do effortless with the spirit of
mhm,
excellence? It's something
mhm,
that is just natural for you. You just do it. So find that one thing that you are passionate about, and then next thing, get clarity, guys. Like for real,
mhm,
you need clarity in life so that you can make the best decisions for you where you are in life. You know, you need that. So, you know, like I said, this has been a great time, great opener for season 11, Coach Jay. Thank you. And
Yay!
Patricia Brown, she sent me her address, so she's the winner of your book. And Yolanda,
Yeah.
I know you're still watching. Pat put in here too. She wants this T-shirt, so we need to get her a dope ass Daisy T-shirt. So we killing, Pat. You killing tonight. You killing it. But thank you
Yes.
all for being on here tonight. And Coach Jay, any words you want to leave us with tonight?
Um. Yeah. I is Don't be afraid, but if you are, do it afraid. But most of all, just do it.
I love that. I love that. And go out, follow Coach J on Instagram and TikTok, Coach J Max, Maxx. Go out and follow her there. And then you can follow her here on YouTube at Jeanine Unscripted. So go follow her on all of those platforms. Get plugged in, you know, support her in what everything that she's doing because she's
Thank
11
you.
books. She's going to come out with another one. Book 12, I believe it. So I'm gonna be
Yes.
there to support her. So make sure you're there to support her. And before you leave, click on like and subscribe so that this can be shared with others just like you guys. And until next Monday, peace out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.